Walking down the street, you know, the gang suppressing team, they roll like a mob. They roll like a gang.
That's Lincoln Park Minister Hugh Mohammed addressing Lansdowne in January. He and members of the southeastern San Diego community were speaking out against police racial profiling at a public safety committee hearing. Some of the department's biggest offenders, they said, are officers in the street gangs unit. The unit's 24 uniformed officers and 18 sergeants and investigators track gangs citywide, but they spend most of their time where gang activity is heaviest. And right now, that's in neighborhoods south of the 94, like in Canto and Skyline. Drive through the area after school lets out, and police presence is obvious. Compared to other neighborhoods, it's kind of astounding. Community members with and without criminal records report regular contact with the police. Mohammed says they're routinely asked if they're in a gang.
They're not stopped every time they come out, but because of the mentality of the gang task force, one may feel if it's them that's patrolling, you know, I can get stopped. And I've heard youth tell me, listen, you know who I am. You stopped me 2 days ago. Why are you stopping me again for walking down the street? You know, I go to work. I have a job. You know, I live in this community.
1, be responsible to yourself, to your family, to your community, to our world. 2, be respected, be respectful. Respect yourself, demand that others respect you, respect others.
At Lincoln High School, Kiki Ochoa leads his class of 9th graders in reciting the words of renowned Oakland educator Jeff Duncan Andrade. Ochoa starts each of his social justice classes this way.
Right now, they're at a point where their psychological development, you know, can go on so many different paths. You know, and if they feel supported, if they feel motivated, if they feel that they're being viewed by society in a positive fashion, you know, you're kind of nudging kids in a certain direction.
But Ochoa says feeling criminalized by police can push students toward risky behaviors. And he says many of his students feel the police have wrongly profiled them as gang members.
Maybe at least a quarter of the boys, you know, if not more, and I'm trying to be conservative on the safe side, but I wouldn't be surprised if half. You know, yeah, I know kids that are making bad choices on our campus, but, you know, it's a minority. It's a small minority, and for such a large group of kids to have those kind of experiences, it's saddening.
Gang Investigations Lieutenant Keith Lucas grew up in Skyline and knows both sides of the coin. He says his interactions with police when he was growing up were both good and bad.
Having left the ones that could have been done better, feeling like I had been marginalized, you know, that's just a horrible feeling, especially when you go, you know, what did I do wrong? And then you feel powerless because no one's explained anything to you. And you just learn to live your life that way. Yeah, I felt that, and it's not a great feeling, and I don't want people to feel that way.
When he was promoted to gang lieutenant just over a year ago, Lucas and his leadership began pushing officers to give those they stop the courtesy of an explanation. He's instructed officers to disengage quickly if they find they've stopped a juvenile who isn't a gang member. Lucas says under his watch, professionalism complaints against his officers represent less than 4% of complaints department-wide. And Lucas adds that for every resident who feels his officers are too visible in the community, there are just as many who believe they aren't visible enough. Recent high-profile arrests related to sex and meth trafficking suggest gang-related crime is getting more sophisticated, and ties to the Mexican mafia leave the potential for increased violence.
So the trick is to balance being present with making sure people still realize and enjoy their freedoms guaranteed under the Constitution.
For some, that balance remains off-kilter. But the recent change in police leadership presents community advocates like Hugh Mohammed and Kiki Ochoa a unique opportunity to step in and help the police force walk that delicate line. Megan Burks, KPBS News.